There's a new AI film tool that honestly cleans the floor with Cinema Studio and any other AI film studio I've ever used.
You're dead.
This is Invideo's new Agent 1. It feels more like working with a professional film crew than AI prompting, to the point that it's starting to kind of weird me out. I animated real scenes from an actual movie that I wrote to put Agent 1 to the test, and while Invideo is sponsoring this video, I am going to show you every way that this exceeded my expectations and every way that I think it needs to be improved. If you appreciate that honesty, do me a favor and comment real down below. Now let's get into Agent 1. Agent 1 isn't a new generative AI model on its own like Nanobanana or Seedance. It's an AI agent that works with you to use those kind of models and create your projects in an incredibly professional and thorough way. To show you what I mean, let's just use it in a real world context. About 5 years ago, I wrote an actual movie script, complete with characters, chase scenes, and shootouts. It's about 120 pages long in typical script formatting, and I just went to Invideo, selected Agent 1, and uploaded the entire script saying, I want to create a storyboard for this film. This has created my first agent, and I'm naming it the storyboard agent because all of my pre-planning will be done with this guy. Once it's analyzed the script, I tell the agent that I want to focus on creating the first 6 pages of the film, and I want to create a character sheet for our main character named Kate. This is where it went to work building out a whole context treatment for the project based off of my script, adding all of my characters and locations. We can see this context now in the context tab. This is basically like the brain of the agent, where it sets constants that it can refer back to while generating images and working with you. This allows it to be super accurate to the script without me needing to go in and put insanely detailed prompts in every time. I was honestly pretty skeptical of this at first, but dude, it works, and it keeps learning as you go. Check this out. The first character sheet it created for Kate looks honestly pretty bad. This looks like a PS4 character. But all I say is, we've got to work on Kate. Then I tell it I want her to be more youthful and asked for 6 variations based on the script. After thinking a bit, it gave me these 6 variations. I like this one, so I said, let's go with this. And then it gave me a full body mock-up. Then I asked for different wardrobe variations based on the script, and the agent gave me those. These are all outfits that I talk about in the film script with brief descriptions. And the agent was able to source all of that info and visualize it, tying each to a specific part of the script. I can even do little tweaks like making her hat darker red or untuck the t-shirt, and it gave me those changes. But now Kate looks pretty good. I want to move on and generate a character reference for another character in the story, her little brother Paul. Now typically I would have to go to Nanobanana and explain what I want in like really high detail. But I'm just gonna say, let's create a character sheet for Paul. Holy crap. This is basically perfect. I didn't even think about this, but because it knows that Paul is Kate's brother, it actually created an image to intentionally have family resemblance with skin tone and bone structure. Check this out. Here's Paul, and here's Kate. These two absolutely look like siblings. It's crazy. I've asked the agent to default to Nanobanana Pro as the image gen model because Pro is the best, in my opinion, at cinematic images and lighting. But I did notice that this text on Paul's shirt looks a little bit wonky, which can be a flaw of Nanobanana Pro. So let's ask the agent to specifically use Nanobanana 2 instead and clean up the text and the graphic of this image, because that's a strength of Nanobanana 2. And just like that, this looks way better. You can also choose to let the agent decide for itself what AI model might be best for different generations. So if I did that, maybe I wouldn't have to have gone through this extra step to use Nanobanana 2. I might have just used it to begin with, but you know, whatever. Now, I don't want to bore you with step-by-step walkthroughs of every character creation. I had 3 more to make: the kid's parents and a guy named Barkeep Lou. A couple of them, like the mother and Lou, required a few changes here and there, but within just a few minutes I had all of my character sheets done and ready to go. One thing about this experience that I want to mention before we move on is the whole process of chatting with the AI agent is incredibly natural. When prompting, even with other tools like ChatGPT, I find myself kind of playing with the wording of messages to try to get the AI to understand what I mean, but that is not the case with Agent 1. It almost feels like collaborating with another real person, which is kind of spooky but equally awesome. For example, this is the first mock-up image that it gave me for Kate's mother, and I wasn't super impressed at first because she looks kind of ghostly. The hair is too messy and the apron is much too stained. Well, I went to go ask for these changes in the agent chat, and I noticed that when it gave me the image, it had already mentioned that the frizzy hair and apron staining might be a bit heavy-handed. It's like it read my mind. It was weird. Now that the characters are done, it's time to work on the locations. The process is pretty much the same as when I created the characters. It knows the script, so I just asked for all the locations needed in the first 6 pages, and it gave me mock-ups for all of them. I really like this first one of the farmhouse. Now, you don't know this yet because you haven't read my script, but the details here are perfect. The father has an old green truck. That is included right here. One of the first scenes of the movie has the little brother Paul character sneaking a cigarette behind a detached barn, which is supposed to be a little ways from the house, and that's right here. The house is supposed to be white and missing some paint, and that's exactly what it gave us. The only things that I want to clarify and change now are that I want the house to be set a little bit further back from the road, and the fields surrounding it should be bean fields, not corn. So I'll have the agent make those changes. And the result here is perfect. I actually do think that the house is just a bit too worn down though, so let's have that repaired a little bit. Perfect. I'm about to move on to working on some of the other locations, but first I want to highlight something that I noticed behind the scenes. Over here on the right, we can see the prompt that the agent used to get this image from Nanobanana. Look how detailed and descriptive this is. It did all of that from my simple request. It's kind of like having a professional prompt engineer on your team. I went through and worked on all of the other locations as necessary for the first 6 pages. The home interior went from this to this, and the bar location went from this to this. Together with the characters, the whole film has a very cohesive look, all from just uploading my script and doing a bit of chatting with the storyboard agent. It's honestly really hard to convey just how cool this is to look at for me. Like, this is a world that I had living in my head and had pretty much given up on seeing on screen, and now it's like right here in front of me. The question now is, can these reference images stay consistent when creating a true storyboard frame and eventually getting videos from it? Starting from the top of the script, the agent recognized 5 distinct scenes in the first 6 pages. I had it generate images off of those pages, and this is what it gave me. These frames aren't perfect, but one thing that I did notice is that the character and location consistency is spot on, which is really the most important thing here. To make changes to the images, I just mentioned the things that I wanted changed in a message to the agent, and it went to work fixing them. While we're waiting for this to finish, I think that this is the perfect opportunity to address one of the main rough areas of the agent. This tool is super powerful, don't get me wrong, but it can take a really long time to load generations. It's not unusual for it to take 10 to 15 minutes for it to complete a step that I have it working on. Now, it's doing a lot in the background during that time, and I'm not even necessarily saying that it would be faster for me to do this manually, but you shouldn't go into this expecting the generations to be instantaneous. Just to put it all in context, up to this point, I've already spent a few hours working on this project. Now, the good news is you can just walk away and let the agent do its thing while you go tackle other projects or maybe watch all of my YouTube videos, so you're not bound to babysitting the agent all of the time. I've also shared this feedback with Invideo, and they're actively working on a solution to get those generations going faster, so that's good news too. Okay, now all of the images are edited and these look perfect. My edit requests were all completed. Again, we can pull up this dinner table image to see all of the detail that it put into the prompt to get a good result. This is really impressive. Finally, with all of these start frames complete, we can start working on the video generations. For this step, we're gonna go over here and create a new AI agent. I'm gonna name him the cinematographer and make this the space for any video creation. That way we've got everything in 2 neat little buckets. The cinematographer agent still has all of the context and memory from the storyboard agent, so none of that is lost. It's just a better way to keep things organized and specialized. Now let's tell the agent that we wanna start making videos. Since it's got all the info, let's just pull the trigger on generating all 10 of these videos and I guess see what happens. Wow. Okay, shockingly, the video generation process was way shorter than the other steps up to this point. This first tin box shot is when Kate realizes that Paul stole some money from her savings box.
Paul!
This one is totally usable, so we'll mark this as approved. The rest of the videos didn't fare so well. Most of them lack any dialogue and direction from the script whatsoever. So let's just bring that up with the cinematographer agent. I gave it these instructions, which basically boil down to generate it like a real movie. And dude, the agent got it. The only problem is this is gonna require 33 individual shots total, which is a lot. And it caught that we didn't make a character sheet for one of the characters near the end, a guy named Philip. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go back to the storyboard agent. We'll create a Philip character, and while that agent is working on Philip, we can hop back to cinematographer and ask it if we can get some of these shots into single generations with Seedance 2.0 for greater consistency. So now we've got both agents working in tandem at the same time. The cinematographer says that we should go with a hybrid approach for generating scene 2, and that sounds good to me, so let's give it a shot. Now that the cinematographer is going to work, the storyboard agent actually has Philip for us. This first generation looks okay, but I do want to tweak it a bit. Cool, now we've got Philip locked. And the cinematographer also has our shots for us now. I went through and watched all of these, and while they're closer to what I want, some of them are just clearly not. They also failed on dialogue, and the agent did make a mistake here because it said that Seedance won't do dialogue, which is just wrong. So I corrected it and I asked for new prompts with the dialogue baked in. I'll give the scene 2 generations one more shot.
Paul! Paul! Mom!
Geesh, Katie, what?
Where's Paul?
I don't know. I think he's outside.
Hey, plug in. Hey.
Okay, well, Kate is definitely raging a bit too much here, but we've got our system down. We're getting good results. So to avoid being repetitive for the sake of this video, I want to see if the agent has learned anything from this. We're going to try to generate the next scene without being too hands-on. The first results were pretty good in terms of dialogue, but the camera angles didn't change in a natural film-like way, the way that I wanted them to, so I asked the agent to adjust that, and the next generations were way better. I'm about to show the final scene edited together, but first, just be warned, there is some swearing in here because the characters are kind of rough. I'll bleep out the worst of it, but if you're sensitive to that, just know, fair warning, it's coming up.
Paul! Shit! I thought you were Mom.
What'd you do with it? What the hell are you talking about? Yesterday, I closed my savings box and it contained exactly $57.23. I came home today and now it contains $48.23.
What did you do with my money?
Geez, what are you, the mob? Take a chill pill. I didn't take your money. I don't need your money. I'm self-made. Besides, you want to be a musician, right? You've already chosen a life of poverty. Get used to it. You get a new pack? Okay, yeah. When Dad gets back, you're dead.
You're dead, Paul!
Now, are all of these shots perfect? No. Some of them line up wrong, or the delivery is like slightly off, but that's part of making an AI movie, and the little tweaks that you need to get good results have been way easier for me to do with this agent than any other tool that I've used. I would have kept tweaking it to polish it more, but yeah, I ran out of credits. And that brings up one other thing, really the only other thing that I would really like to see Invideo implement here, which is a more obvious credit use indicator. When working with Agent 1, it's really not obvious how many credits you're using for each generation, so it's hard to budget for scenes. You just kind of work and then run out of credits. You can curtail this a bit by setting the model to always ask permission before generating assets right up here, but I'd still like to have some sort of actual credit usage indicator on the screen so that I can keep an eye on my totals. You obviously won't have to worry about this if you use one of their higher tier subscriptions, but that takes some serious budget. That said, I absolutely see Agent 1 as the future of AI video creation. This workflow and the quality of the results that I've gotten from it are better than anything else I've ever used, and it's only going to get better. These agents are just gonna get smarter, they're just gonna get faster, and all of the AI models that they're using are just gonna become more capable. You guys know me, I don't like to hype things up, but I'm actually genuinely excited for this, and I'll have a link to Invideo down below if you wanna try it out for yourself. If you're interested in learning more about Invideo and seeing their new boards tool, which is really good for like product videos and that sort of thing, you should watch this video right up over here where I break that down in detail.